Welcome to Becoming More, the podcast that is all about you becoming more. Because, see, I do truly believe that every single person, they yearn for more. It's inside of us. We're built in a way that there's something about life that we desire to be more, do more, have more, give back more, help other people more. Whatever it is, that word more is built into us. Now, I've got a book, Becoming More, and I want to teach today from just a chapter of that book. It's a chapter that means a lot to me because it's about your journey to more. And this chapter answers a critical question that maybe you've asked yourself. What does it actually look like to move forward towards more? Because sometimes we feel like we're just going backwards. We're having to take 3 steps backward and 1 step forward. More, though, is not about comparison. And that's where it generally starts for people. They think that for them to have more, it's because they're comparing themselves to their neighbors, they're comparing themselves to coworkers. And I've got to tell you that, well, when you're comparing yourself to others, you're actually comparing your insides to their outsides. See, you don't know what they're going through internally. You don't know what battles they're fighting in their mind. You don't know all the things that they are fighting that you may be fighting yourself. You just see the outward appearance, the smile, the mask that they may have put on every single day. Think about it. Are you having a journey to becoming more being about other people more than about yourself? Because, see, more happens through the layers of learning. And that's what we're going to be doing. They may have had more layers. They may have learned more. May have taken more classes than you. And I say you absolutely have to invest in yourself until you're the most expensive thing that you actually own. Now let's go to the chapter. It's called Your Journey to More. And Earl Nightingale, who was someone that my father actually introduced me to, in my 9th grade graduation, he gave me the record. Yes, it was a long play record and it went around on a record player, right? And the needle held the story as we listened to Earl Nightingale and the Strangest Secret. Now, he's always been a favorite of mine. He's been a mentor of mine. I actually wore that record out listening to it. And here's a quote of his: all you need is the plan, the roadmap, and the courage to press on to your destination. Now, notice nobody can take the journey for you. You got to take that journey yourself. And that journey encompasses a lot of things. A lot of things for you. Maybe, well, let's just say Chris Garner is a great example. I got to meet Chris Garner and speak with him, and we actually shared the stage together. And afterwards, of course, with him selling his books, and I was speaking with him. And in the pursuit of happiness, he didn't just suddenly win the lottery, for heaven's sakes. What he won was that desire to grow, that desire to become more powerful, that desire to do whatever it took to move forward on his journey. And he received something to me that was so astounding that we all need to get sometime in our life, and that is the desire to grow. He grew his discipline, he grew his skill, he grew his thought process, he grew his belief in himself, and his entire life expanded to match the way that he was thinking. See, personal growth didn't just happen to him. Personal growth is a job, for heaven's sakes. And it all starts with the status quo. where we are right now. So what is your status quo? Are you happy with status quo? Because your brain is going to be fighting you to say, let's stay here. I love comfortable. Oh yes, your brain loves to be comfortable, for heaven's sakes. And it's going to desire for you to stay in that comfort zone. And it's going to help build this cage that you're going to live in called your comfort zone. Now, the bars of that cage are your thoughts. And so sometimes we have to break those limiting beliefs, break those limiting thoughts to get outside of our comfort zone. And everything that we desire lives on the other side of our comfort zone. Otherwise, if it wasn't uncomfortable, well, then that means we'd be comfortable doing it. We've got to become comfortable being uncomfortable, constantly doing new things. I'll bet you every time that you go to work, every day, you probably drive the exact same way. Have you ever thought about maybe taking another route just to show that there are other ways to get to where you desire to go? Well, you may be living in status quo. And when opportunity knocks and you're so stuck in status quo, you won't move forward unless you really decide to grow. Now, you've never done something before, so it means you're going to be uncomfortable. It means you're going to be unqualified. And so naturally, your brain is going to resist. It's going to not understand that you're going to go for that opportunity, that you're going to do whatever it takes to make that opportunity come about. Because see, the journey starts in status quo and then decides to accept the opportunity. And sometimes when we're no longer comfortable and we go into that discomfort of thinking differently, well, we're going to have to be intentional about that because our brain knows one way of thinking and it desires to keep you there. You've got to intentionally move from spot A to point B. And let's face it, our goals, there's a gap between where we are and what we desire to become more. So opportunity is there for us to become more. We've just got to accept that opportunity and know that growth requires tension. One, we've got to have the desire to improve our environment. See, environment is 80% of your success, for heaven's sakes. So is your environment actually supporting you? Number two, we desire to be understood. Are you communicating in a way for people to understand you? Do you express what it is that you desire? Do you even express it to yourself? Or are you caught up not understanding the greatness that's inside of you and you're hanging on to all those limitations? Because when you step outside that comfort zone, you go for opportunity. You are going to be uncomfortable and you're going to have to fight those storytellers in your head, especially the devious storyteller that tells you you can't do it, you're no good, you don't have what it takes, right? The third desire that we all have, we desire to be loved. We desire to have somebody else love us, to support us, to say, hey, you're okay, for heaven's sakes. And even when we fail, they love us. Because see, as John Maxwell, my mentor for 29 years, has said, Dianna, you got to have a return on failure. In fact, he just wrote a book about that. Are you getting a return on failure? Or are you just thinking about the return on your investments, right? Well, failure is an investment into your future. The fourth thing that we all desire is we desire to belong to a community, to belong to a group, to belong to something that's greater than us or someplace that we can contribute to others. And to move forward, we need to replace the old identity that we have of ourselves, those outdated expectations that no longer serve us, those limiting beliefs that we've hung on to like they're gold, for heaven's sakes. And we need to break through. We need to discover a new identity. In fact, you can actually write out the new identity that you desire and then practice becoming that person before breakfast every single morning. See, you may have limited yourself by saying, well, I don't have a choice. I have to remain where I am at. I want more, yet I really don't have what it takes. Maybe you're allowing your checkbook to do the thinking for you. Instead of doing that, make a list. I learned this from Brian Tracy. Make a list from 1 to 20 and write down what it is that you desire on top of the list, and then write down 20 ways that you can make that happen. Now, the first 5 or 10 are going to come real easy. It's the bottom 10. In fact, that 20th one is probably the real gold. And if you can't do this on your own, well, hire a coach, hire a mentor. Now, I do both of those. And when you arrive in that position that you say, I desire a coach, because no one succeeds alone. Find one that's going to hold you able to do the job, one that is not going to let you off the hook, one that believes in you, one that allows you to borrow your belief in you and their belief in you until you actually believe it yourself. And when you have the help of a coach or a mentor, you're going to learn many, many lessons. In fact, that says people do not decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their future. Now, that's why in Coaching Blitz, we talk about habits and habit stacking, habit creation, habit forming, habits. We have 4 steps to habits of building new habits, because we've got to release those habits that don't serve us and build new ones to take their place. And then, of course, we have to do what I call a priority switch. In life, we have pain and we have pleasure. And most of you may think that you're moving towards pleasure when in essence, you're actually moving away from pain. 95% of the people, research tells us, will move away from pain instead of towards pleasure. It's much like, well, let's say that you're going to go on vacation and it's a few months away. You're going to the beach. You want to look good in that bathing suit, right? And you're out with friends and they're all ordering sundaes. I mean, caramel sundaes, chocolate fudge, whipped cream, nuts, cherries on top. Oh, it looks so good. Now, the kid inside of you is saying, I want that. And the parent inside of you is saying, now, remember that vacation. Yet your unconscious mind is moving away from pain. And so it says, hey, you know what? That vacation is months away. You can go ahead and have the Sunday. You have lots of time to lose weight. See, the pain of not having the Sunday is greater than the pain of losing weight, of not being able to be on the beach in that bathing suit. Think about it. As the vacation gets closer, all of a sudden, there you are, out with the same friends, same circumstances, same Sundays being ordered. And you look at the Sunday and the child wants it and the parent is saying, no, no, no. And they're going to war with each other. Only now the unconscious mind says, hey, that vacation is weeks away, not months away. And so the pain of not looking good in the bathing suit is now greater than the pain of not having the Sunday. So you say, no, I'm not having it. That's the way we do our life. And we have to make a priority switch, because until that priority, that pain of not looking good in the bathing suit has to become greater than the pain of having the Sunday. And we can do that at any time. We can do that in our own mind, yet we have to be intentional about that priority switch. It's just part of the journey, right? Another way to look at this is long-term pleasure over short-term gain. You do this all the time. If you work out, if you go to a gym, well, guess what? Going to that gym is short-term pain, yet the pleasure is eventually you look better. So that's what I mean by long-term pleasure over short-term pain. And we have to prepare. We prepare the foundation that we're going to build upon. Because by failing to prepare, you prepare to fail. And you might have to think about that a little bit more. Am I planning? Am I preparing? Am I moving forward? Am I willing to fail before I succeed? See, Sarah Blakely, I was speaking with her and John Maxwell one time, and her father every night at the dinner table would ask them, what did you fail at today? And if they didn't fail, he said, well, you weren't working at it hard enough. Think about that. Are you allowing your children to fail? More importantly, are you allowing yourself to fail? Because success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. That's Winston Churchill. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts, by Winston Churchill. It's interesting to me how many people actually want to talk about their successes, yet very few will talk about their failure. It's through those failures that they became successful. In fact, it's been said many times that if I talked about my failures, it would be so long, nobody would want to listen to them all. You find me someone that's successful, and I'll show you someone that fails many times. Because, see, transformation happens, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Transformation occurs because you were willing to take the journey, because you were willing to go through all of the steps. And then after transformation, you start building momentum. And that is such a great place to be with the big Mo, because when you have momentum, everything seems better. Everything seems to be going your way. It's because it's a new you. You've already transformed your habits. You've transformed your thinking. And now you're ready to share lessons. Yet wait, that's status quo. And the journey begins again, over and over again as you progress upward. And as my friend John Maxwell says, everything worthwhile is uphill. The problem is you have uphill goals with downhill habits. So think about that. Are you going up every single day? Are you getting 1% better? Because when you're just even going up 1% every day, it's not 365 times that you go up. Do the math. It's actually much more. And every time that we stretch our mind to think bigger, to even believe that we can do things better, to become more, because a mind once stretched by a new idea never regains its original dimensions. That was Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr. that said that. So let me ask you, what journey will you go on? Will you start it today? Will you get out of status quo? Will you take the challenge to become more? Because that's what it's going to take. And join me here. Subscribe to Becoming More podcast. Actually, join me on a Becoming More workshop. We'd love to have you. Let us know what you desire and how you desire to become more. Reach out to us at diannak.com, and I'll see you becoming more.